So for our last demo, I'm going to show you how Amazon Q Developer can help us even solve business problem. So we have this application that is currently producing a lot of data into the OpenSearch database, and the AWS bill for this is skyrocketing. So the organization asked me to come up with solutions to reduce the usage of storage for that application. So here I am back on my IDE where I am reviewing the code that I wrote for that application, but I have no idea about where to start. That's the truth, right? And this is the situation that most developers out there find themselves when they have to solve a problem for something that they have no idea where to start, because either they lack the knowledge on the technical use case or the application, or perhaps the technologies involved on that project. So what I'm going to do is to ask Amazon Q for guidance. In this case, I'm going to ask, with OpenSearch, which is the database that is kind of causing storage cost, how can I reduce the amount of storage used by writing time series data, which is the data type that I'm storing currently on OpenSearch. So let's see what's going to be the recommendation for it. Here it is. So let's go back to the beginning and see. So the guidance is for use this feature called data streams, which aims to simplify the management of time series by creating and managing underlying indices. I think that's good. And also the usage of the ultra warm and cold storage from OpenSearch. That's interesting. I have heard about those features. So basically, instead of writing data on EBS storage, which is very costly, you can use object store and then have this kind of an automatic index management for like old data goes to object store and hot data sits on EBS store. So let's try those approaches in the current code. Now let's explore something that is probably very common out there among developers. So I have to make these changes in my code base, but here's the truth. It's been more than 2 years since I've worked on this code base. I have no idea what folders and files I have to change to implement those features. So I'm going to use Amazon Q Developer, give that feature to actually scan my project structure and ask for guidance about where I should make the change. So where in the current project I should make changes to implement the features data streams from OpenSearch. I think that's a good prompt. Let's see how that goes in terms of guidance and orientation from Amazon Q. So here is the plan suggested from Amazon Q. So first, I need to go to the Terraform AWS main Terraform file and set data stream flag to true, which is a good start. And then go to the folder scripts ds policy JSON and modify the template. I'm assuming that's the index manager. Let's see how this folder script is. Yeah, scripts data policy. That's good. And then update the script, create data stream script field. So as you can see here, it's a very decent way to start. Like obviously I would have to kind of double check what the actual instructions are, but now at least I know which specific folders and files for my code base I need to work on it. So I went ahead and implemented first example of how to implement the data stream feature of OpenSearch here on my project, but I'm actually unsure if this is the right way to go. So what I'm going to do is actually using Amazon Q to validate this implementation. So I'm going to send the entire JSON code as a prompt and ask, verify if the JSON document below provides a good example of the data stream feature from OpenSearch. So this is the type of validation that is very common for developers, because sometimes it's not the problem of finding the exact way to go, but if that is the right approach and the one that provides the right amount of best practices and the architectural recommendations from a given vendor. So here is a breakdown of everything that was validated. So it validated my session index patterns, which is very important in case of OpenSearch, and the usage of data stream, the priority, the template, and also give a little comment about the presence of the data stream object, indicating that indeed I am in the right path of the implementation. For our last stage, we need to implement the ultra warm feature on our OpenSearch domain. So here I am creating my OpenSearch domain using Terraform in infrastructure as code. So I am uncertain how to actually express this ultra warm feature in my Terraform code. So what I'm going to do is create another feature development with Amazon Q and then ask for modify my current file. What is the name of the file? OpenSearch.tf to include support for the ultra warm feature from OpenSearch. Make sure to keep everything else unchanged after implement this change. So let's see how Amazon Q Developer is going to modify my current code to include that very specific request for this change. So here is the recommendation given by Amazon Q Developer, which essentially boils down to the inclusion of this flag warm enable here on the code. I've already applied the recommendation into my code, and everything seems to be like ready to go for our testing. So this is a great example of the augmentation of skills that Amazon Q Developer can provide to developers and IT professionals in general that are not necessarily experts in a given technology, but Amazon Q can augment their knowledge with the gaps that they currently have.